Good Monday, everyone, and welcome into today's daily Bible reading for November the 7th. Today, we are reading together in Job chapter 33, where Elihu begins to now shift his attention just from introducing himself into the story to now he is going to direct his attention to Job, and he's going to speak directly to Job and give Job a possible other perspective on the events that have taken place so far in the story of Job and all the difficulties that he's faced and the possibilities of why this might have happened. Elihu is going to address him. He's going to do so in a very lawyer type way. He's going to say, hey, Job, listen, consider what I have to say. Consider the evidence, consider my perspective. And then if you have anything to say, even at the end, he says, if you have something to say, go on and answer me. You can say something now. But if not, listen, I want to continue on. I want to continue on giving you my perspective of what's going on, another possible way of understanding these things. That's what we're going to see here in Job chapter 33. So let me go and get the text up on the screen for us. Job 33 and verse number 1. But now, Job, pay attention to my speech and listen to all my words. I'm going to open my mouth. My tongue will form words on my palate. My words come from an upright heart, and my lips speak with sincerity what they know. The Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of the Almighty gives me life. Refute me if you can. Prepare your case against me. Take your stand. I am just like you before God. I was also pinched off from a piece of clay. Fear of me should not terrify you. No pressure from me should weigh you down. Surely you have spoken in my hearing, and I have heard these very words. I am pure, without transgression. I am clean and have no iniquity. But he finds reason to oppose me. He guards me as his enemy. He puts my feet in the stocks. He stands watch over all my paths. Verse number 12, that was Elihu quoting from Job, saying, Job, this is what I've heard you say. Now Elihu is going to respond and say, but I tell you that you are wrong in this manner, since God is greater than man. Why do you take him to court for not answering anything a person asks? For God speaks time and time again, but a person may not notice it. In a dream, a vision in the night, when deep sleep comes over people, as they slumber on their beds, he uncovers their ears and terrifies them with warnings in order to turn a person from his actions and suppress the pride of a person. God spares his soul from the pits, his life from crossing the river of death. A person may be disciplined on his bed with pain and constant distress in his bones, so that he detests bread, and his soul despises his favorite food. His flesh wastes away to nothing, and his unseen bones stick out. He draws near to the pits, and his life to the executioners. If there is an angel on his side, one mediator out of 1,000, to tell a person what is right for him, and to be gracious to him and say, spare him from going down to the pits, I have found a ransom. Then his flesh will be healthier than in his youth, and he will return to the days of his youthful vigor. He will pray to God, and God will delight in him. That person will see his face with a shout of joy, and God will restore his righteousness to him. He will look at men and say, I have sinned and perverted what was right, yet I did not get what I deserved. He redeemed my soul from going down to the pit, and I will continue to see the light. God certainly does all of these things 2 or 3 times to a person in order to turn him away or to turn him back from the pit, so he may shine with the light of life. Pay attention, Job, and listen to me. Be quiet, and I will speak. But if you have something to say, answer me. Speak, for I would like to justify you. If not, then listen to me. Be quiet, and I will teach you wisdom. And that is Job chapter 33. As Elihu begins his, we'll call it a cross-examination, I guess, of Job, he says, first and foremost, Job, my words come from an upright heart. He himself is making a claim of wanting to come at this the right way. He also says that he is, let's see here in verse number 5, refute me if you can, prepare your case against me. Just listen to my evidence, listen to it, and then respond if you have something to say. Verse number 6, I am just like you before God. I was pinched off from a piece of clay. I take this as him saying we're all just men. We're all men. I'm no better than you. You're no better than me. We're all men just trying to figure these things out. So here is my understanding of things. Here's my perspective. Because remember, it seems as if Elihu's just kind of been off to the side and listening to these other four men, not only Job, but also Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar. He's heard them speaking. He's heard their discourse and debate. Now here he comes with his perspective. So he reviews what Job has said up until this point. He's claimed that I was pure, that I am pure without transgression. I am clean and have no iniquity. So Job says Elihu says, Job, you have propped yourself up as being a righteous person. And it doesn't seem as if Elihu really rebuts that claim. We know from, again, the beginning of the story that Job was a righteous person. But he goes on to say, you've also noted that even though you're righteous, God has still been against you, that it seems as if there's been some sort of injustice against you, and you've cried out to God and you questioned him about this. I mean, going back to chapter 31, Job, you even said, I demand a sitting with God. I demand an answer. But here's where Elihu does chastise Job. He says, I will tell you you're wrong in this matter. Why? Why would Job be wrong? Well, he said, Job be wrong because God is greater than man. And basically, how dare you take him to court? You have no right to take him to court. You claim as if God has not answered you. You claim as if God is not speaking. Well, God speaks time and time again, but a person may not notice. Elihu is suggesting that, Joe, maybe you just haven't noticed God answering you during this time. Maybe you haven't heard him talking to you in some sort of way. Maybe you've missed that. But furthermore, verse 19 begins to talk about the fact that Job might just be being disciplined by these hardships. Verse 23 is going to talk about an angel on a side, a mediator, which I think this might begin to move us think about our ultimate mediator, which would be Jesus. And we think about even God himself talking about he disciplines those whom he loves. I think that would be in reference to those who do what is wrong. He disciplines them so that they would correct their mistakes. But there's also the idea here of whenever we suffer discipline in this world, it can help us to reorientate ourselves to make sure that we are thinking the right way. And I think that's really Elihu's point moving forward into the chapter is he says, well, Job, maybe you've been disciplined not because you have done something wrong, but maybe you're being disciplined so that in the future you won't do anything wrong. Maybe this is almost from God's perspective a preemptive disciplining against you so that you stay on the straight and narrow way. In fact, verse 29, Elihu says that God certainly does all these things 2 or 3 times a person in order to turn him back from the pit so he may shine with the light of life. So Elihu here within his argument up until this point isn't saying, Job, you have done something wrong and you're being punished for the wrong thing that you've done. Instead, his mindset is, well, maybe God is just trying to keep you from doing something wrong. That you're good now, but maybe he sees in the future there might be an opportunity where you forsake him in some way. So he's disciplining you to make sure that you cling even closer to him. That seems to be, at this point at least, Elihu's type of idea of why Job is going through what he is going through. Again, we know what the real answer is. He's going through what he's going through because the Satan challenged Yahweh and said, oh, well, your servant's only good to you because you've been good to him. Well, now that things are not good and God has allowed them not to be good, Satan's been the aggressor here. God has allowed it to happen, yes. But now that things are not good, Job still clings to his faith, even though he's struggling, even though he says some things out of frustration and emotion that he's going to come to realize just weren't true. Job is still clung to his faith, even in spite of all the difficulty. And you know what? Some of what Elihu was saying is true, that God is clinging closer, that Job is clinging closer to God, even during a very difficult time. And that's something I think we would do well to consider too. that whenever we go through difficult times, that's not an opportunity for us to distance ourselves from God. That's not an opportunity for us to push him away, but instead that's an opportunity for us to cling closer to him, to draw closer to him in times of difficulty, kind of like what we talked about yesterday. And as we talked about the lessons we learned from Peter walking on the water. You might think the safety's in the boat, but really the safety is with Jesus, and he wanted to be with Jesus and cling to Jesus. And that's what we need to do too. When we're going through difficult times, when we are frustrated by the circumstances of life, when it just seems as if we can't catch a break, when it seems as if we just can't get healthy, we're just continually sick or continuing frustrated by issues at work or in the community or in our homes or whatever it might be. Friends, let me encourage you today to listen to Elihu's words. Don't forsake God in those moments. Instead, cling closer to him. Draw yourselves closer to him. Allow those difficult circumstances to make you desire and want God and the peace that he offers all the more. I think that's something we can learn from what Elihu is proposing here within this particular chapter of his speech to Job and the three friends. Thank you so much for tuning into this reading on this Monday. We'll be back at it again tomorrow as we read from Job chapter 34. Hope that you'll be able to tune in for that. Please continue to be praying for everyone as there's a bunch of sickness going around. Please pray that things continue to go well, that people will be healed, and that they'll be able to be out and about again very, very soon. Again, thanks for tuning in. Have a great day, everyone. Take care, and God bless.